Hey, welcome everyone to Yo-Yo Talk. We have a great show lined up for you tonight with a very special guest coming on live with us, who I think everybody will recognize the name, Bob Rule, Mr. Yo-Yo himself. Bob is in the Yo-yoing Hall of Fame. He is the recipient of the Harvey Lowe Lifetime Achievement Award, and he was a Duncan demonstrator from 1952 to 1965. He also demonstrated for other companies as well, and he has an absolutely fantastic collection and probably more information and memories that we can possibly cover in one show. So that's what you have to look forward to later in the show. Be thinking about questions that you have for Bob and go ahead and post them right now in the comment section so we can get them in the queue. It should be a very memorable episode and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ask Bob questions. We will also have our lightning round and grand prize pop quiz. And speaking of those things, last week we had yet more controversy on Yo-Yo Talk. And no, it was not about me challenging the early history of the yo-yo, which I might add was a lot of fun. And I appreciate all the positive feedback on that. This is the only world issue that is internationally important that we can actually get some bipartisan support on. And I might add, that is a must-see episode. So if you missed that one, it's definitely worth going back and taking a little look-see. Old episodes of Yo-Yo Talk can be seen on Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk Facebook page, of course, and on Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk on YouTube. And make sure you follow him. However, it was not only we screwed up one of our giveaway quizzes last week, we screwed up both of them. And when I say we, I mean Sean, the show's producer, because the man on the camera can never be at fault. And that guano always falls down, never up. So early on, it seemed like Tim Simcoe was the winner of not only the lightning round, but the grand prize winner as well. But no, it was not to be, as we went back and re-looked at the time code and found out that Joe Mitchell had indeed won the lightning round. And Mike Hilton, who has absolutely nothing to do with yo-yos and is rumored to be partially brain dead due to a blow from an underwater hockey puck, just happened to be watching because he knows me. Well, Mike randomly guessed both answers correctly in the grand prize pop quiz, and how he ended up beating all you yo-yo collectors and even the Nickinator, I'll never know. But it just goes to show that anyone has a chance by random guessing, even if you don't have a clue about yo-yo history, or in Mike's case, don't even know how to make a yo-yo sleep. So that does open it up to just about anybody winning these prizes, but you sure have an advantage if you know the answers. We will try to be more careful this week, but sometimes we will have to wait till the end of the show to get the official time code to make sure that we have the correct winners. So our sincere apologies to Tim Simcoe, who was very gracious, and he took it like a man. And congratulations to Joe and Mike for their wins, and taking down the Nickinator, who is currently admitted to a Yo-Yo Trivia Rehab Losers Center. Losers. For this episode, I purchased this special chair right after this guy was done with it for Sean, to keep him especially attentive during our quiz answer sessions. Now, the Nickinator is getting a bit desperate as he has been so long in winning, and he has sunk so low as bribery is being considered.
Those questions last week were hard, so here's my gift to you to make them a little bit easier next week.
Now, the Nickinator appears partially clad in this clip, and I want to make it clear that this was not part of the bribe. As you may or may not have guessed, I am not totally immune to bribery, but apparently I am immune to bribery from a man wearing a Speedo that offers me a bagel yo-yo labeled as a Jewish educational toy. No, folks, I can't make this stuff up. So that is good to know for this week's episode, that the lightning round and the pop quiz will be legitimate once again, although the official winner announcement may be delayed after reviewing the time code at show's end. The Nickinator has taken some desperate actions with his recent defeats. If during the lightning round or the final quiz you feel chest or head pain, it may be the result of the Nickinator's consultations with professional counselors. Now, this episode, I would like to say our guest Bob Rule has donated some very cool items for the lightning round quiz. But first, I want to show you what you're playing for the grand prize package at the end of the show. Here we go. More great items in our prize package, which you can win tonight at the end of the show during our pop quiz. So look and see what your potential winnings are, although these will probably all end up in the garage of the Nickinator. Here we've got a couple of books, the Zombie Cause Dictionary and Lucky's 20th Century Guide to Collectible Yo-Yos, and a Zombie Boy yo-yo right there from the Zombie Cause. Oh, what's that up there? That looks like a Carpet Critters yo-yo. I think that was from the 80s. That was pretty expensive. Check that price tag out. That's almost $32 back in the day. That's made out of bloodwood, so I have no idea what the value would be today. There's a couple of counterweights. I don't know why I put them in, because it doesn't sound like anybody collects counterweights. I don't know what's wrong with you people. It's a Duncan yo-yo from 20 years ago. A couple of 20-year-old yo. There's a couple of Stealth Fire Yo-megas from 20 years ago. A Sir Duncan Spin Top from the 60s. There's a Yo-ball. I don't think we've had one of those out there before if you're into collecting the Yo-balls. But here we've got something interesting. This is the Linda Singh Paul packet. This is from probably late 60s, early 70s. It's got a real nice yo-yo in it, but it's also got a lot of other good crap to go along with it. You see these for sale every once in a while. These will sell in anywhere from the $30 to $70 range. That's a festival yo-yo string pack there. It's got some stickers, it's got some pin back buttons, and then of course the yo-yo. Nice little collector. She was the original superstar female yo-yo player and demonstrated for some of the companies, including Pedro Flores when he had his second yo-yo company. I think she was the main demonstrator, and she is, I believe, the only woman in the Yo-yoing Hall of Fame. So nice little collectible to have there. Looking on down, we've got a Duncan Neo that's loose. There's a Coca-Cola yo-yo that's about 20 years old. Well, actually, there's two Coca-Cola yo-yos there. They both are about 20 years old. I think hidden underneath there is a Hummingbird. Yeah, that's a Hummingbird Starburst yo-yo. That looks like that is on the card. And we got a few Disney yo-yos here. Let's take a look at them. Right in the middle of those yo-yos is a Orange Bird yo-yo. It's loose. The crazy brain-wired Japanese collectors love the Orange Bird for some reason. But that's good if you happen to have Orange Bird yo-yos, because that means the price goes up. And there's an MGM Disney Studio yo-yo. Pretty unimaginative graphics considering it's MGM and Disney. You'd think they'd do a little better on that. If you like poly-bagged yo-yos with a header, I guess this one's for you. Off to the right there is a Mickey Mouse yo-yo. That is a festival yo-yo from the 70s. So let's take an overall look at this. I guess it's about time to calculate our value of this fabulous prize package. Let's get our computer working. And there you go, $224. Definitely worth watching the show until the pop quiz near the end. And this too could be yours unless the Nickinator snatches it away from you at the last second. Okay, a very nice assortment of yo-yos there, which I am sure you would all like to have, and I know the Nickinator is desperate to have. But before we move on, let's take a look at what we have up for grabs in the lightning round. These again were all donated by Bob Rule, who will be on the show here in just a few minutes. And these are unique, one-of-a-kind items, as they will all be autographed by Bob himself. So here's what you're playing for in the lightning round. We have a Yo-Yo Secrets by world famous Mr. Yo-Yo, Bob Rule. Signed copy of this, and this is a great book to have in your collection. We also have the Duncan Yo-Yo trading card of Bob Rule, also which will be autographed, and a very special and unique Mr. Bob Rule, Mr. Yo-Yo, Yo-Yo. This was an interesting yo-yo that was from an old festival orange bird mold, if you remember the orange bird yo-yos. These were Disney yo-yos, and they had a bunch that didn't have logos, so they made special yo-yos just for Bob to demonstrate with. And so this prize package is very interesting for any serious collector. So let's just jump right into our lightning round and see who answers the question the fastest. And again, I want to qualify our results by saying hopefully we get the announced winner right, but we may have to wait to authenticate the official results until we see the time code at the end of the show. So here we go to the lightning round. Duncan produced a one-of-a-kind VIP executive yo-yo for the new World Heavyweight Boxing Champion, placing only the date and time of the knockout on the yo-yo, which read 9:25:62 and 9 minutes 42 seconds, .06. Who was the new heavyweight champion following this fight shown that the yo-yo was awarded? Your answers now.
A left to grazing right and a solid left to the cheekbone. Drop the champion.
Okay, there's your question. We're still waiting for those answers to come in. This is the heavyweight champion of the world. The person that went to the ground was Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson, the guy that we're looking for is... Oh! Oh my gosh. I think we have an answer here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is the Nickinator. Is that correct? No. Chuck Short. Okay. Well, we're going to have to look at this. I can't see it as well as Sean. And as I've said, we may have to look at time code at the end of the show. Sean is reporting that Chuck Short answered first. Congratulations.
Well, let them know it's a matter of what device gets it, so we're going to timestamp.
So we are going to timestamp that at the end of the show and just double check. The Nickinator was in there with the correct answer too, but we don't know exactly who brought it in first, but we will see, and we'll post that after the show. But right now we have Chuck Short as the winner, so congratulations to you, Chuck Short. Very good, and we're rooting for you. Not that we're not rooting for the Nickinator, but hopefully you did score that very cool package, and Bob will be signing all that stuff for you. And speaking of Bob Rule, guess who's coming on the show right now? Yes, it is Mr. Yo-Yo himself. Let's bring Bob on. Okay, we just lost Bob. So we are right now scurrying around trying to get Bob Rule back online here. He was on up till about 2 seconds before we went live.
We're good.
Oh, we're good. There's Bob back. You are back with us. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Bob, great having you on the show. We've got a ton of questions from the viewers out there, but I'm going to start out with the first question. I am going to ask you, where did you get Mr. Yo-Yo from? How did that happen?
That'll be good. I'm getting a feedback of some kind. I'm getting
You're getting
two.
feedback?
Yeah, but that's all right. I heard the question.
Okay.
Uh,
We
way
can hear
back
you
in,
pretty clear, I believe.
okay, back in 1960, when I returned to Duncan for the second time, they had hired a bunch of players that were, every one of them had an eagle that wanted to be the world's champion. And I didn't want to claim to be the world's champion. So I adopted the name Mr. Yo-Yo and I trademarked it.
Oh. Well, that was a very smart move, actually. So we've got a couple questions from some of the viewers, and I want to jump into them first. I've got some stuff I'd like to ask you, but Rick Rentz had the first question. Rick wanted to know, what got you started yo-yoing, if you remember back then?
Oh golly, that's a long time ago. I was in the Boy Scouts
Oh,
and I had to go to summer camp, but I got poison ivy real bad. So I went every Saturday before uh, the summer camp, and there just happened to be a yo-yo contest on the corner where I changed buses on Grand River and Southfield, and from there it was I couldn't put one down.
that's great. So, Judah Schultz wanted to know, I believe if you, when you got that yo-yo, I assume you were a kid, I assume that yo-yo went to school with you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, did you ever get
And
any taken away by the teachers? I know I had many a yo-yo confiscated back in the day.
the teachers had a drawer full.
Yeah, I found out later what they did with our yo-yos that they took is they went to the teachers' lounge and they played with them while they were smoking, of course.
Oh, right.
So that's the story of how you got. John Bozung wants to know, did you carve any of the yo-yos? Hey, and can we put up that carved yo-yo that says Bob on it there, Sean? So that's not your carving, but tell us the story about that carved yo-yo.
That's the late great Barney Akers did that. It's a two-sided. The other side had my girlfriend's name on it at the time. Now keep in mind this was in 1950, so no, that yes I carved, but I never got to the ability of Barney and some of the Filipino players.
Now, did you mark your, just curious, if you carved, did you mark your yo-yos in any particular way so they could be identified as your carving? Just curious.
No,
How about the other guys? Were they pretty identifiable with their carvings? I mean, can you look at a carving and say, yeah, like Barney Akers did this carving, or Gus did this carving?
I think somebody like Bill Oliver, Dale Oliver,
Yeah.
can recognize the carvings, but I can't.
Oh, okay. John Gates had a question. He wanted to know about spin tops. Who taught you to do spin tops? And we were talking about this the other day, how you kind of learned that. It's an interesting story.
Yeah. Duncan in 1963, I believe. I was already here in Atlanta, and they rented a hotel room, and it was myself, Don Winters. What was that? There was four of us in there. Fred Mills, and we spent a week with Fred and Don just learning how to spin tops. Can you hear it?
I'm hearing you fine. Sean's talking to me, and he's not talking loud enough, so I can't tell what he's saying. But continue on.
Okay. Well, anyway, after the week was over, this was right at Christmas time, a promotion in Atlanta with Fred Mills. So I got to spend 2 weeks, 2 months, just one-on-one with him. And then from there, I went to Minneapolis, and Don Winters worked with me. So I had 4 months with the two best players in the world, and I put them in the weeds real quick.
So that was your learning, but I mean, you spent weeks learning the top, but you spent a lifetime doing the yo-yo. I do. Tim Simcoe wanted to know about the famous picture of you on the elephant playing the yo-yo. Hey, Sean, can you put that picture up for us?
That's with Tim Filari.
And how did that
So
happen? What was the dealio there?
we were in San Antonio, and they had a boat show there, and they got us into the boat show to play and expose ourselves, and they put us on that elephant. That was quite an experience.
Yeah, I got to ride an elephant once many years ago. The hairs are like little bristles that stick into you, although you were wearing shoes, so I guess you didn't notice that. Kathy Lanier wants to know how old you were when you got your first yo-yo, but I think you already mentioned that you were in Boy Scouts, so I imagine you were like 9 or 10 years old.
Exactly. I think I was 12 with
12.
my first year.
Oh, okay, so that's maybe a little later than some kids get their hands on a yo-yo. So
I
that's
started in 1948.
So what when we're talking about your yo-yos, what's your favorite yo-yo? If you had a yo-yo said this is the yo-yo, you pull it out of your collection, what is that yo-yo?
That's a no-brainer. The Duncan tournament,
Duncan Tournament.
right?
So that was your pablum.
Absolutely. That's all I ever played with for years. I hated plastic at the time, and
Even though it was cool and it was made out of tinite?
But the tournament was so much better a looping yo-yo than what the plastic versions were. We finally had to go to plastic in about 1970, and Festival, who was making yo-yos at the time, made a plastic one, very much like the tournament, almost the same shape. And oddly enough, the ones that I've got that had my name on them were the Orange Bird yo-yo.
Yeah, let's show
that
that, Sean.
What is that?
The Bob Rule yo-yo, the orange one there. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
So that was the Orange Bird that was made by Festival Union Wadding, and then that was the Disney Orange Bird yo-yo. But they made stickers for you to put on this one. Is that what happened?
no, I had them done through my business.
Oh, you had them done through your business. Now I noticed that there was show that other yo-yo of his that's in the poly bag with the header, Sean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Now that's obviously not. That looks like one of the Disney molds. That color.
No, that was out of the same mold.
Oh, well, it's the same mold, just different. I mean, the Orange Bird was always orange. Those look like that came from the Peanuts or maybe.
Exactly. That's right.
Now, you also, when you were demonstrating for a festival, you did a big Peanuts demonstration, right? I think, don't we have his suitcase that he did that with there, Sean?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that says the world's champion on there, and I did not know they put that on there until I arrived in Kansas City. And I looked at that, and I was very disappointed.
Well, there were so many world's champions back then.
I know, but I
Without a
wasn't gonna.
contest. So you did the Snoopy, Charlie Brown, Linus, Lucy thing. I think we've got some film of that there, Sean. Did you also work? Did you do any demonstrations? Because Festival also did the Disney series, the Disney Pal series. Was that around the same time?
Yes, it was. I did a series of appearances for Hallmark because
Okay.
Hallmark had the Peanuts yo-yos.
Yeah, and they did did they do the Disney? No, Disney was just straight Disney. Do you have those shots there, Sean? Well, either the Peanuts or the Disney.
Or something.
All right. Yeah, there's some Snoopy yo-yos there. They're out
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
So I think we've got some there from the packages from the Disney and from the Peanut series too. There's a packaged Snoopy that would have been probably around the time period you were demonstrating those. Yeah, there's the whole series there of the festival. Now that was interesting. The festival, they had a string pack, and I think it was the first string pack that actually had multicolored strings in it. So that's the one packet I say the strings are important. All the other packets that are out there that we collect, I don't think the strings are that important, but the festival series, it does count to have the strings in the packet because they had a color for each of the characters. Now you also demonstrated for Gorham, I believe, and
Yes.
and Gorham is always for sale. I think I counted over 20 Gorhams on sale on eBay. Sean, can we put up that Gorham picture, please? So that's the silver one, Sean. So, and there's so much misinformation about the Gorham, and I always love reading these things. Yo-yo from the 1800s. So tell us, when was that yo-yo released?
You didn't tell me you were going to ask me that. I'd have to look it up. But yes, I went to New York. I went to their headquarters in New York in their showroom and demonstrated for 2 days. It was great fun.
So was it? But that was around 1980 or something like that, I believe, wasn't it? Or was
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, yes.
Somebody grab the book and look it up. It's in the book. But again, these yo-yos aren't 50, 70. They're not antique. There's a lot of them because nobody gets rid of a silver yo-yo. And interestingly enough, the value of those have gone up recently because, you know, silver's at like, I don't know, $25, $26 an ounce. So you got about $20+ worth of silver in that yo-yo now. So still a pretty collectible yo-yo. Now, Bob has a great yo-yo collection. Can we throw up some of those pictures from his yo-yo collection? Yep. And I had a burning question about the Snoopy that Kool-Aid, no, it wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Cool Pops.
Bugs Bunny.
Oh, and yeah, it was a Bugs Bunny. Can you show up that Bugs Bunny photo there? Because I never seen that yo-yo. And I'm wondering, if any of the collectors out there that are watching, tell me if you've seen this yo-yo anywhere because they had a big promotion. So I'm really intrigued by that yo-yo. Do you remember anything to do with that particular one there, Bob?
Not a thing. I had to go upstairs after I talked to you earlier in the week. I do have one for you if you'd like to have it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
I
just
can't
wish
tell
knew
you
a little
anything
more.
about it.
Yeah, I just like a little more history. If anybody out there that's watching knows any of the history on that particular promotion, I think that's very interesting. They had those big posters. You can see Bob has an amazingly large yo-yo collection with lots of stuff going back lots of years. And because of all those years, what would you say your favorite memory was of all these decades of being involved in the yo-yo world? Other than being on my show.
Yeah, aside from being on the elephant, it would have to be the Smothers Brothers show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get a photo up there of Bob and Tommy Smothers there, Sean. So we'll pull that photo up. That was also that was around late 80s, I believe, when
88 in the fall.
88
is when we taped it, and it showed in February of 89.
Okay, now this is actually not the one I was wanting to see, but that's okay, Sean. Keep that rolling there because that is a picture with a heck of a lot of very famous yo-yo players. You've got, of course, Bob Rule there with Dale Meyerberg. There's Tommy Smothers in the middle. And then right next to Tommy Smothers is Barney Akers, who is not wearing a hat. I was like, who is that guy? And then I realized it's Barney Akers without a hat. I'd never seen that before. And then you've got the famous Harvey Lowe there. And just to date that, look, they're standing next to a pay telephone. So that goes back a ways. So those obviously were people that were all involved in that Smothers Brothers show. And you performed on the show with all those great players. So any particular memories or anything that stands out of being on the Smothers Brothers show?
Just how down to earth Tommy was. I got into the hotel. They pick everybody up from the airport in a limo, and I got in the hotel separate now. Each one of us had our own limo, and
Wow.
I got a phone call about 5 o'clock, and said, "Bob," I said, "Yes." And he said, "This is Tommy." And I said, "Tommy Smothers." And that man is so down to earth and so nice. He said, "What are you doing for dinner tonight?" And oddly enough, his gal Friday, who took such good care of us, ended up being his wife.
Oh my.
And I mean, she made all the arrangements and had us picked up and dropped off. And we had dinner with Tommy every night.
Oh wow. How cool is that?
Yes, absolutely. And he's just as funny in person as he is on television.
That is great. So all those guys that were in that photo appeared with them on the show, as I recall, right?
Yes, each one. We all
That's
had a
cool.
little separate segment. And the
Nice.
one you've got on the far left, Dale Meyerberg, puts on the best show of anybody I've ever seen. And I saw a lot of good players, but Dale Meyerberg's demonstrations to the public are just incredible.
He is a real showman. There is no doubt about that. And we want to get Dale was on our show earlier, and certainly we want to get Dale back on the show too. We'd like to get Dale doing some of the what's that, Sean? Oh, okay, yeah. Let's play. Just make a few comments. This is you playing the yo-yo at the very first national championships that Disney held.
1962. The
1962.
video was done by Pat Brown's family, who lived here in Atlanta at the time, and he was our city champion and won the trip to California. That's something Barney was outstanding at.
Yeah, Barney was just on there yo-yoing. There's some pretty famous people. You had Don Duncan Jr. there, and Barney Akers, of course.
Yeah, Jack Duncan is in there, and Jimmy
Jack Duncan.
Lucas.
Oh, okay, great.
Who was the winner the next year. He's a little blonde-headed boy.
Now, just think about this. That prize was $5,000 scholarship. That would go to you could go to just about any school in the country with that now. You realize how much that would be worth now with college tuition to be able to go to a big school with a scholarship? I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible.
I believe it's the equivalent of about 50 grand today.
Yeah, that's just amazing. I wish we could go back to those days. So anyway, let me just make sure I've covered everybody's questions here. Did we get any other questions in there, Sean, that I missed for Bob? Sean is double checking to make sure we didn't miss any burning questions for you here.
John Yates, do you remember the year you invented the double pump mount?
Oh, okay. Good question from John Gates. Do you remember the year that you invented the double pump mount?
No, and I didn't invent it. I'd like to take I'd like to take credit from it, but a player from Canada called Rolly Moffat.
Oh, okay.
And I call it the Moffat hop. He taught it to me. We were both working promotions in Detroit, and he was working for Cheerio. And so he and I were buddies, so we would meet at night. We couldn't be seen during the day together, so we would meet somewhere at night, and we spent a lot of time together, and that's the Moffat hop.
Neat. Well, that's very kind of you for giving credit where credit's due. I know that Chuck Short had mentioned how he learned integrity from you, and
Thank you.
well, I know what you're going to say. You should have done a better job. I know. No, sorry, Chuck. Chuck's a great guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right along with that, I made a trip to San Francisco on my way to Las Vegas, and I purposely detoured to San Francisco to meet up with Bill Du Bois-Blanc and Tom Kuhn and a couple other players. And they videotaped my two-handed rock the baby, which I had learned. from a high school student in Los Angeles. And
Really?
I was the only one other than the student that could do it.
How
And
about that?
they took that videotape and broke it down, and now everybody can do it.
Oh, somebody did the math on that $5,000 thing, and it's $42,000. 43,000. That's pretty impressive.
And
Pretty
I had
impressive.
three of my players won that.
Three. Oh, those were your players. So a little bit of nepotism there, maybe.
Three
Well, at
of-
least nepotism through hard work and talent and practice. So.
Yeah, there was 4 nationals, and my players won 3 of them. So
Wow, that's great.
very proud of that.
3 out of the 4. That's
I'm still in touch with Jimmy Lucas, who won in '63, and Valerie Larson's brother, and now we call her Oliver, but her
Oliver, of
brother
course.
Forrest Larson was an.
Oh, really? I didn't know that connection there. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bob, it has been amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody that was watching learned a lot, and we are definitely going to get you back on because I know you have a lot more stories about yo-yos and a wealth of knowledge that we all want to pick your brain on. So thanks again for coming on. And I guess what's left is our lightning round. We'll see if the Nader is able to get back in the saddle again. And I guess without further ado, we'll just jump right into that lightning round. Let her rip there, Sean.
Doc Lucky's Pop Quiz. 1 shot, 1 champion. First to answer both questions in the Facebook comments wins. Get ready.
Okay. Ben McPhee set the Guinness World Record for the most yo-yo spinning at one time in 2010. How many were there? And second question, name one of the 5 players that appears on the Playmax Video Yo-Yo. Simple questions for you tonight. Simple questions, especially that second question. You can just throw out a famous yo-yo player's name and you're probably going to hit it. So Ben McPhee, how many yo-yos was he able to work at one time? That's what we're looking for right now. The answer should be coming in here shortly and quickly. And one of the 5 players that appears on the Playmax Video Yo-Yo. Say that 5 times really fast. So are we getting any answers here? We're seeing numbers come in. I'm not seeing the correct number yet. We've got some people. People are getting the names good, but we're not seeing the numbers. I'm trying to look at the things coming through, getting really close. Oh, yep, there we go. Tim Simcoe.
For that we can think of.
Okay, so now let me qualify that because Tim answered first last week and turned out he was skunked. So we are going to wait until we see the timeline, but at least on our computers, Tim came up with the correct answers, which was 16, and then he said Kate, and several other people. There was Hans and Ben McPhee and Julius and John Higbee. What's that, Sean? Kate Miller. Of course, that's what we're referring to, Kate Miller. So anyway, congratulations to Tim for winning the big prize package. Congratulations to Chuck. Was it Chuck that won the lightning round?
Yeah, I believe so.
Chuck, we're going to double check those right after the show. We'll get online and put the names up. Next week, we have another great guest. If we have a resident artist for yo-yos, I think everybody would recognize the name Higbee. John Higbee will be joining us, and we'll be talking about some of his artwork. John is one of the few people out there that's a full-time professional yo-yo player. He does some amazing artwork. He's done some really neat stuff lately on videos, music videos, where he's put some stuff up. It's really cool stuff to look at. And so we'll be talking with John. And yes.
We have a challenge from one Joe Mitchell.
Okay, Joe Mitchell is already challenging.
He's challenging the first part, actually, number 16.
Oh, the number 16? Well, that is the record that we had listed. Now, maybe that's changed, but right now, that was the record we were looking for. So since it tends to be kind of random sometimes, that we will go with the number 16. So because that's what we were actually looking for and what we were basing that off of. So anywho, we will double check the time code for everybody at the end of the show. And we will hopefully see you guys next week, where we'll have John Higby on as our special guest. So as always, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until next Thursday.